Civic Center Commission meeting on Thursday, July 18th at 10 o'clock. You'll take a list of who's here and who isn't?
Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
We have the minutes from the May meeting that we need to approve. You want to take a look at those and see if there's any corrections or additions?
Move approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
I don't know if I can second, but I'll second.
Okay.
I'm a secretary.
Okay. Those in favor of accepting the minutes from the May meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Executive Director's Report.
All right, so we have some copies of the June report that are listed on the table, just in case we had any questions. I also wanted to show the budget as well, so we have a few copies of that. Oh, sorry. I would say right now we're kind of at our halfway point for our fiscal year. We are trying to figure out, and this is for all departments, we had a meeting with Rich Murphy talking about how we're going to move forward with our budget for next year, but also if we need to consolidate any line items, shift any line items. We're going to be looking at employee funds as well. They would like us to also do a little bit more for health insurance and benefits, and budget more for that in the upcoming year. I have a meeting with Mary Lynn Wall, who is one of the lovely ladies in the controller's office, and we'll kind of be walking through that to make sure that all of our line items are in check, and then we'll proceed with how to move forward with that. We did have some bigger expenses over the past month and a half or so, one of which was Rent-A-Man, and that was a pretty hefty bill to get everything up and running. So we received that bill about a month ago.
Now, what was that for, Emily? Rent-A-Man was...
Rent-A-Man.
Yeah.
No, I know, but what did that cover? I just...
For gardening.
Okay.
So we do have, it was just to get the garden up and running. We had our mulch delivered, and this is something that I would have shared at our June meeting, but since we did not have one, I wanted to share it at this one. So that was one of the bigger bills that will probably, that went through this past BOW cycle.
Basically, it was just a little behind schedule.
We had mulch that I had them spread because I wanted it done in one go, and our volunteers and staff were not able to get it done as quickly as I would like it to have been done.
Weather,
yeah, so we had them do that at the beginning of June, and it looks lovely. So, moving on to my next point. So, we have some new staff members that I'd like to introduce, one of which is a new heritage interpreter, a new intern, and then our Work One partnership. So, Mitchell, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mitchell Espinosa. I'm the new heritage interpreter. I'm currently working on a project in the library where I'm doing audit reports on the books and looking at what repairs need to be done and what the state of the books are.
Yeah. Mitchell, could you spell your last name?
E-S-P-I-N.
E-S-P-I-N-O-S-A. Okay, thank you.
Not a problem.
And then Ursula, would you like to introduce yourself?
Morning.
Hi, I'm Ursula Grammer. Ursula is U-R-S-U-L-A. And then Kramer is K-R-E-M-E-R. Sorry for a loop. But I'm the media productions intern. I started earlier this month, well, I guess like the last 2 days of June. And I'll be here through mid-August. And I've been running the blog, one blog post a week, as well as a podcast, one podcast post a week. And so far I've looked into some of the menus that we have in our archives and like what the foods that we're eating and kind of the social meaning behind them. And this week I've been looking into the servants that were here and seeing their stories.
Yeah, so Ursula's been doing a lot of research for social history, and she's been directed by Jackie Perkins, so she has been under Jackie's leadership. We do still have job postings for a heritage interpreter position. We're always looking for more staff since we'll be losing Jackie for grad school soon, which is always sad, but a wonderful, wonderful transition, and we're really happy to have her go into the next chapter of her life. And then we also have the event liaison position. I have interviewed several people. We've given the job several times. I think now I'm on my 5th round of going back and doing more interviews, and it's just a position that we're finding is difficult to place, mostly because of the hours, that they're needed very heavily in the summer, not so heavily during our other events, and a lot of people want to have a strict schedule. Whereas some of us, or some of our events they could be in the mornings and they could be in the evenings. And so I've been giving a schedule of, this is kind of what our events have looked like for the past summer. These are the ones that we would definitely want to have you cover. And we've gotten very, very close several times of offering the position to several people, and last minute they say, I cannot do this, or there were a couple of instances where they had family concerns as well. So we're still going to be looking through that and going through more resumes and cover letters.
Is that through the city?
Yes.
The resumes there.
Who's been picking up the slack?
Jackie and myself. So we have been splitting the rentals. She'll do a lot of the scheduling for tours, for school tours, and then I've been meeting with a lot of brides. So we've had weddings almost every week.
Who runs, let's say, a Saturday wedding, and who's here in charge of that from the mansion?
Jackie and myself.
Okay, you sort of share? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or at least that's how it's been for the past month.
Alternate weekends, or?
Nope.
Okay, just, do you both do it, show up, or just one at a time?
Depending on
how big?
Depending on how big it is.
Okay.
What we've found is that we'll have morning meetings every day to talk about what's happening, whether it's school tours or weddings or what needs to happen here at the mansion, and then we'll also go over any rentals. So let's say I'm not able to make it, and I've been meeting with all of the brides and I know what they want, and we've had contracts and stuff. If any one of my staff were able to see the contract, this event would be able to go on without a hitch. It would be able to go on very smoothly, and no one would know that the main person who has been dealing with the rentals is not there. So we have had a lot of really great communication between the staff and myself, and that has been a continuous thing for the summer. So it's been really good.
So they're getting some event management experience.
For sure.
In addition to,
Yeah, for sure. So we have some upcoming events.
And I just wanted to, could you explain the Work One person?
Yes, I'm so sorry, yes. So we have a Work One partnership. His name's James Brandon. He is our custodian and gardener. He has been with us for a little over a month and a half, and he has been the one that's been...
See you guys, thanks for being here.
Yep.
Deadheading flowers. He's been helping with the garden, helping with event setup. So he's been a wonderful asset to us. Work One is only with us for about 18 weeks, and they work about 20 hours a week. And it depends on what is happening for that week, but we try to keep them at 20 hours. Work One pays their wages, so they're considered a volunteer for us, and that's a partnership that we're continuing. We had them before, and I really wanted to have, I realized that we were not able to do more of the maintenance side if we were having so many events. And so I reached out to Work One. I think it was at the end of May, I believe. Middle of May, end of May. And luckily we found someone who works out really well. So it's been a good partnership for sure.
Would that person be available if you need someone for maintenance full-time? I don't know if that's in your budget or not, if this person is working well.
There is the potential to hire them. It would only be a part-time position. If we were at this time, I don't know if I can answer that question
Okay, I was just
fully
curious.
because we're working with. We're going to be looking at our budget line items for our employees.
And he is a student because I talked to him. So
Oh, he's
he
a
goes to
student?
Ivy Tech. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So our upcoming events, we have quite a few upcoming events in July and August, which I wanted to just kind of highlight. And these are things that we need more volunteers for. Our volunteer sign up is on signup.com. That's where we're able to see all of the job postings, or no, sorry, not job postings, volunteer opportunities and those postings and what's needed. But we do need a lot of assistance from that. I know Jessica volunteered for our behind the scenes tour last night, which was wonderful. I spoke with the staff who were like Mitchell and Ursula. They're new. It was their first behind the scenes tour, and it's nice to have a volunteer there as well who kind of knows how
Where the light switches
exactly.
are.
Yeah.
They're still learning.
Light switches.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'd encourage you guys to volunteer. It was also really great. They said it was wonderful to have a board member volunteering. They loved seeing that and loved knowing who our board is and the influence that they have in the community. So I really encourage that. I would really like our board to volunteer for one event per month. That's wonderful, and we would love to see that, and I encourage that. I know Lori worked in the archives, and I checked in with Jackie, and she really loved all the work, Lori, that you did. It was wonderful. And we always have projects like that of, if it's not something where you're comfortable working the front desk for a tour day, there are always other events. It might not always be, a high intensity, running around and setting up a sort of environment, but it's always wonderful to have that because 10 minutes after you leave there might be an occasion where we could have had that help, so it's wonderful to stay for that whole period.
Are there some events here that you're in greater need of volunteers than others?
I would have to check the signup.com list. It shows which ones have already been filled and which ones are there.
Now, like weddings and showers, do you want volunteers for that too?
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
Because there's always people, a greater amount of people that are here that might not know where bathrooms are or might not know, how do I get back to the kitchen? It is kind of amazing here, and we're fortunate enough to kind of know the blueprint of the house. But for a lot of new people that have never been here, they might have questions, and staff might be on tour or do something else, and so having a presence is definitely wonderful. Yes.
So, do you consider working in the archives, volunteering for an event? I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
for sure.
specifically one of these things, but I enjoy
for sure,
working in the
yeah.
archives. So.
Yeah, we would love to have you continue with that. Lori specifically was helping us with our modern archive and figuring out, we have, folders of things that are designated for modern archive, but then figuring out what is actually in this folder. And that's something that we're going to be researching and using a lot more. And so that was a wonderful, wonderful thing. But yeah, volunteering at least once a month, whether it's front desk or archives work or working an event, all of that is listed on signup.com. So if you're not sure about what your schedule might be, and I know I have 3 or 4 calendars, whether it's at home or in my car or whatever. Check all your calendars and see which days might work best.
Signup.com.
Yep, signup.com. There's also, all of you guys are on the volunteer email list, so I send out the links for that particular month of what our needs are. If you click on that link, it'll show you a calendar and you're able to see what is there and what isn't.
Is the August one out yet or not quite?
I'm adding a little bit more to it because we had a couple of rentals that just signed up.
Okay.
So I have not emailed that out yet.
Okay.
But it's going to be finished by the end of today or tomorrow.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
During the kids' summer camp, what would be the volunteer hours there? And What would they do?
So a lot of that is just kind of being a presence at the mansion. These are just our upcoming events of also just show you what we're doing. I'm going to be taking kids camp along with our intern Ursula, and so we'll need more volunteers here at the mansion. But all of those details are kind of listed on signup.com. But this is a lot of what we're doing. We have a variety of kids events, a variety of rentals, a variety of events to get the community back into the mansion, to feel like they have a part in it as well. So while it probably wouldn't be for for summer camp itself, we do have some times where we won't have people working front desk, or I won't be able to assist with anything. So we'll need more people on hand during those few days.
Emily, I noticed that History on Tap only attracted one person in June.
Yes.
Any thoughts about that, or is it just a bad time of year?
So because it is our first go around with having this as a monthly lecture, I think because there's so much happening in June, it was good to at least try it and see what happened. But I think it's still good to continue that. We had still a lovely conversation, but it was kind of just a fluke. We have had a lot of people in the past working at or having people there for History on Tap, so I think it's still something that we're going to continue.
Yeah, the one I went to was really good.
Is there one? I thought there was one on the board.
Yes, there is one.
Okay. What date is that?
That will be the first Thursday in August.
Of course, summer is a busy
History.
June, July, and August.
August 1st.
I think
August
probably
1st.
fall, winter, spring might get more people who aren't busy doing something
It's true.
else.
Yeah. I think what's been really wonderful though is no matter what topics we've had, we've always had amazing conversation afterwards, whether it's and not all of them are historians. A lot of them might be environmentalists, or our speakers have a variety of backgrounds, and so we've had a lot of conversations that have honestly been very connected with every month's topic, and it's all about kind of the human connection of how we're connecting with our past, how we're connecting with what's happening in our future, and what's important to us. And a lot of those themes have recurred no matter what era we're talking about. A lot of it has dealt with human emotion and how that is portrayed in documents or in monuments, and what our thoughts are about preserving that history. So I think it's an important outlet that we're definitely going to continue doing.
I have a question about Barker Barks walking tour. This is the first time that's been offered.
Second time.
And I have a good friend who's so involved with the Michiana Humane Society. Do you help promote that through them, or connect up with them? Okay.
Yeah, we do advertise and we do try to help with that. They're on the email chain for that. Yeah, so they'll be receiving, they should have been receiving a lot of the info regarding the Barker Barks walking tour.
Great.
Okay. Is that the end of your report?
Yeah.
Okay. Old business, which was the new business from the June meeting, would be the nominees for the bylaws of the Barker Civic. Have they hired a lawyer yet to be with
Not
us?
yet.
Okay, well then we will wait on
Table
that,
that
Yeah.
one.
because
We should wait
that.
for an attorney. Yep, I've been in contact with City Hall about that, and we're still in the
That's their call,
process.
Yeah.
We survived without a lawyer for 10 years. Okay. Any other old business? That was the only thing that was on. Any new business?
I have a question. I'm not sure which category it falls under, based on something TJ said last night. So he told the group that the third floor was off limits by decree of the board. And I didn't know if that was accurate. I know we all had safety concerns about people being up there, and I don't know what it looks like up there. I know it's not finished, but what is our status on that, our plan moving forward? I know we had concerns, I know the city had concerns, but I felt it probably wasn't accurate to say that there was a decree issue.
That's very strong.
by
That's a
the
bold
board.
statement.
And I know, TJ is prone to excitement, but I thought, well, what is going on there, and who is saying
Should we discuss
what?
that during the meeting with Friends? Because are they involved with the continuation of the restoration?
City owns the building. It's a city building, but how about now?
This, city business.
What's
so.
your proposal to? I agree that that's not a statement you want to have out there.
Yeah.
What would you say to follow up with that?
Well, I think we need to figure out what is going on there and have
How can we rectify it so we can open up again?
understanding. Yeah.
So you're saying the city
At our
should be involved? I mean, the Friends originally were.
It's the city's issue to address.
Yeah,
Because they
that's
closed
my
down
thought,
the mansion.
yeah.
It's the city's issue to address.
And I'm sure it comes up every day because we have the welcome video down there, and there are pictures of the third floor, so people are probably, when do I get to
Who do
see
we
that?
need?
You know,
Needs-
what
who
are
do
the
we need to
impediments?
contact?
Are there real safety issues?
Yeah, what's it
And
like
is
up there?
In our May meeting, we had mentioned as a board that until we did the lead training, which we did last week, our certificates will be coming in the mail, so that's exciting.
That wasn't on the agenda, was it? The lead training?
No. I did not have this on the agenda, no.
Seems like that's
No,
important.
It was going to be a new business.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. I just wondered about
Yeah.
that. All right.
Yeah, so we did our lead abatement training, which
Now we're moving on to new business, just to clarify.
Yeah, we are.
We're done with old bit. Okay, all right. I have to make sense of this, so bear with me. Did we finish the discussion about the status of the third floor
no, I'm trying to get to that.
Yeah,
under new business?
yeah,
Okay, just
Yeah.
clarifying. All right.
with the lead training, starting with that.
All right. Good.
So we did our lead training. We had reached out to our insurance company, and Kim Ramsey was gracious enough to host us, and we did our training of, what are the ramifications and what are any health hazards or things that you just need to be cautious of when working at a historic site. We still have all original lead pipes. We have a lot of the original electricity and the wiring and things like that. And so we chatted about while the program itself, they give it to a lot of people who work in factories and places where there is more of an issue of having residue and actively working with lead products. It's important for us to have it as well, and she tailored the program, which was really great, about how to recognize if something is crumbling, how do you take care of that? Not necessarily how do you fix it, because we're not doing that, but what are the protocols of who do you go to? How do you dispose of it? If there are any chips, if there's anything going on with that. A lot of the issues with, make sure you wash your hands. There's a lot of just make sure you wash your hands. Don't drink from lead pipes. And if there are any health concerns, who do you go to for that? And making sure that you are safe as well. The third floor has a lot of cracked plaster in the ceiling. And there are some places that on the wall, I noticed some cracking of paint, which is new since the restoration started. I do agree with Tom that because this is a city building, the city also needs to figure out what's happening. But since we are a city elected board, it does kind of fall with us. I know at our May meeting, we determined then that the third floor should not be reopened until that is rectified and until we have that training. It is my thought that while there still is work that needs to be done up there, that that can be done in our slower months in the winter. And where there is paint that is cracked, we can put a display case over that, or make it safe for the public to still be up there and have it open. I wanted to run that by you guys in this new business section, so I'm really glad you got to that. I'm really glad you asked that question, because I do feel that we're able to do that. As long as we make sure that this is covered, or that people are not in contact with the paint, with anything that's crumbling, and with our lead training. They showed us a lot of pictures, a lot of slides and stuff, which I can forward on to you guys once I get that from Kim Ramsey, of if you recognize that this is how you can use preventative measures. I do think that a big part of that will be to get dehumidifiers in the basement areas and in the third floor. I don't think that we have sufficient dehumidification, and so we do have issues with mold. We have issues with cracking plaster because it's contracting and expanding so much. And so that is something that I'm going to be purchasing in the next few months.
You have money?
Money in the budget, and then we'll see how many we're able to purchase. Yeah. So I'm thinking that in the next few months, we're going to get cases back together, redesign that since everything was moved, make sure that we are good to go.
Do we need to get an okay from the city to do this?
No.
I think.
I mean,
you know how they jump.
The fire report said the building was safe to use.
Okay.
That's true.
That report said it was safe. Okay.
yeah,
Then
after the
that's-
cleaning and after the
Okay.
tests that
That's
were done,
all we need then.
Okay.
it is safe.
So that was the city signing off on that.
No, America.
America.
I'll reach out and I'll just check with HR and just make sure to double check, and I'll CC you guys on that message.
They have a copy of the report. They can read it. They can opine. And
I would
Let's go.
invite them over as a courtesy, just to see the space and tell them your plan of the
Right.
exhibit cases, and just so they're in the loop with the decision.
Invite them
Plans
them
are.
being,
I'm sorry, Fred. Go ahead.
invite them over them being who?
Andrea, the HR
Maybe Caitlin.
person, maybe Mike Cuss from sanitary if he wants to come over.
Cubic.
Kaylin, yeah.
Kaylin.
Yeah.
He's mayor's assistant, because he's been involved in all of this too.
Yeah.
But just have them
Just
involved.
as a
Yeah,
courtesy.
the one thing that I am concerned about that I noticed since closing and since the cleanup, and I don't know when it went missing, but we have a missing grate that I know Modern Stucco took off, but I don't know where they put it. And I don't know, since America was in there, we've had a lot of people in and out, and so we have a missing vent.
Is it just something you can get at Menards?
I'm
generic?
hoping. I'm hoping.
Great.
So-
great cover. You said, or vent.
Yeah.
A cover like that, but
Yeah.
modern.
Not okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That is the one thing that I would say, until we have that, we're not able to open. Because you don't want people, sticking their hands in vents, and that's not safe. But yes, I'm hoping to have that
I
done.
have a couple of follow-ups. So work still needs to be done. So who would be doing the work in the winter months? Do we need to
We
bid
would
that
have-
out, or do we go back to the original contractors, or is that just to be determined?
We would not go back to the original contractors since they were not certified in lead abatement. We need to have lead abatement because we have lead paint. And so there is a
city would do that.
website that has 936 or something like that, like in the very high hundreds of contractors that are certified in lead abatement.
So professional people would be doing it. You said
correct.
If you were going to do the work, and I just wanted to clarify that there'd be specialists coming in to do that.
Correct. As far as funding, we would have to have some sort of contract or sign off. Whether the Friends wanted to pay for that or not is to be determined, but we would have some sort of contract or sign off that says the city recognizes that this work is being done. It could also be if we fundraised and found that money through fundraising, or if we had it, we do not have it in our budget to do that kind of work at this time. We are still working with a budget that you have to look at the past 3 years. So in 5 years, we're going to be great with the budget. But as far as right now, we're still working with very minimal operating budgets. We do not have it in our budget to do major plans.
But if this was done during the winter, then the next budget cycle
Correct.
would start January 1st. So you're not going to start it before Christmas anyway, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
So another follow-up. Kim Ramsey, is that a staff person with GIS?
Yes.
Is there a credential there that is, I don't know if it's he or she, has, that's a specialty of that person?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, so we know what's happening on the third floor.
Are we able to go up there after and
Yeah,
see?
sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'd
that'd
like
be
to just
great.
see.
Yeah.
Any other new business?
I have another question from the tour last night. The status of the rugs in the basement?
As far as the historic rugs,
Yeah, they're just on the floor right now.
we're attempting to put together a rug rack. That was purchased by Gaylord a while ago, and we're now trying to figure out the dimensions of where to put it. So that's in progress.
Okay. And then how, because we know that the basement can leak and have water issues, especially
Lots of
in
dehumidifiers.
those. Well, I mean, I know the first year I was here, I mopped up a lot of water down there. Like after every rainfall, there'd be water. And we did address that with D&M excavating. But still, every time it rains, my mind goes to the mansion basement. Every time it rains. My point is that, of course, I have the worry that's going to happen again. So, do you know how far off the ground the lowest rug would be? Is it a concern?
I'm not concerned about
With
it.
water, okay.
No, we have, I had purchased these, I think, maybe within the first month that I was here last year. But it's essentially bed raisers, essentially. And everything will be about almost a foot off of the ground.
Okay.
In that specific area, because I tried to wait about a year or so before we figured out which room would be best. Yes, it's a bigger one, but it also is one on the side of the house that we don't get a lot of dripping, or it's the drier side.
That would be this room here?
The modern archive area.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, so we did kind of look around that, and then it'll be on like a bed raiser sort of system.
So does the family know that stuff is being stored down there?
They should, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they?
Because during my time, they were really against any artifacts being down there. So I just want, before you go further and put together this big rack and whatnot and get it on there, just to make sure that they understand there are going to be artifacts down there in the basement.
I mean, they should. I've reported that with the new edition of the Modern Archive and trying to get that room together. It is in the basement because it's the only area that will be able to hold that much weight. Other rooms on the first and second floors, the beams are not able to hold that much weight.
Sure.
A lot of weight associated with archives?
I might know that.
How many on a rack? About 8.
No, how many know it's not?
The weight.
Logo,
I had a contractor come out and look at the beams and the weight of the rack and what they were able to carry.
how they test it?
They had, I'm trying to remember what tool they used. I'll have to look at my notes with that.
Well, what was happening with these rugs before? I don't remember any discussion about it, so it's kind of...
They were in Bailey's office upstairs, and we were going to put the rack in that room upstairs.
So they've been removed from the floors and are not...
Oh, yeah. So when I got here, all the original rugs were on the floors and people were walking on them. So we took them up, we rolled them, and just put them rolled up in a pile in that room. And the eventual plan was rug rack, which we...
Would that be a better place to store them?
Well,
I mean, they won't
kind of
fit.
They won't fit.
Yeah, they won't fit rolled up in the type of preservation that each of them is going to need, being rolled up in a certain way. But also where the beams are for, like the support beams for the floor and the joists of the floor, it's not going to work with that particular rug rack. Yeah.
Any other new business?
I just have...
You're fine.
That's
You're
I
fine.
just have one more question from the tour.
The children's room? Okay,
No.
no. I was gonna say,
well, that's all other...
Okay. Did you want to tell us something about it?
we're getting dehumidifiers in the children's room because the paint is not, there's moisture that's coming in behind the paint. And that's been an ongoing issue that I've talked with some contractors about. So, and things will fall off the walls and it's just not great. So, sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering the status of the bride's room, bathroom. It looks a little rough still, and of course this is your
It's our busiest
prime
season.
wedding
Yeah.
season. So if you can just tell us what's going on up there. And
Yeah.
the plan.
So we're going to be removing the toilet as soon as our other plumber, they should have come in yesterday, but they will be here today to install the tank on the staff bathroom toilet. And then they will do a date for removing the other one. We'll put a table there that has feminine hygiene products, that has tissues and anything that you might need for that. And then we're probably going to, it needs paint, I think. Or at least a little bit more.
Are pretty rough.
Yep. And we were thinking of doing either more paint or having photos of different wedding areas in the garden or something like that, kind of along that area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Any other new business?
Those are my big questions.
Those are great, yeah.
Got me curious.
Our tour was very informative.
Yeah, I just have one comment. Emily spoke to my exchange club last Tuesday. Did an excellent job. She had some interesting questions, and I think engendered some interest in the mansion through her talk. As is usual, there are still many people in Michigan City that have never been to the mansion, and in some cases don't even know that it exists. And that's a perennial problem, and I don't know that we'll ever cure it 100%. But Emily did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Exposing the mansion. And I have another comment. You know, I don't know how many years on this commission, but is it the age of the mansion that's catching up to us? You know, the cracks in the plaster, the moisture behind the paint, so many things that we're now realizing that have probably existed for dozens of years. I guess that's just kind of a rhetorical question.
I think one thing, the mansion's been busier than it was for many years. As
Does that
far as
contribute?
weddings and just the traffic of people walking up and down and on floors, and I think the wear and tear maybe, because I mean, since Jessica and then you or I, we're much more active in the community with things going on at the mansion.
Well, to me, that doesn't explain the cracks in the plaster and the ceiling, our lead abatement problem. That's been here, the lead paint and so on has been here since the thing was built. It seems like there's an accumulation of issues that we're dealing with in the last year or so that haven't been around.
The envelope of the building has been nearly completely addressed in the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. Except for the tile on the main. So all the outside, all the windows in the oldest house have been replaced. So, thank you. You make a good point. I think right now what we're dealing with in terms of not outside cause issues is just maintenance. I mean, if you look in here and somebody's other plaster ceilings, they're what, 100 years old, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of outside cause issues, I think it's like a house. Something that wear out, need to be fixed. Mm-hmm. The economic life of a house. How many years that is?
No.
30.
The economic life. So what do you mean by that, Tom?
It's a time where stuff wears out.
Yeah.
You're talking about stick built, and this is a little different.
Yeah.
Well, I'm giving you a benchmark.
Yeah.
So, we've spent in the last 25 years well over $2 million on the outside. Copper roofs, even before the big redo. So, if it's broken, fix it. But I don't think it's epidemic. It's just normal maintenance.
At my own house, we have a list of probably 15 projects, and when we can afford it, we do a project, and I think it's probably the same way here. Emily's got a list on her wall, and it's like when the new budget cycle comes, well, what's feasible and what really, really needs attention.
And the means and methods, when it's above versus never different. You have plaster sitting on uninsulated walls. So that, you get not water issues, you get vapor issues. And so, you have to understand, it's so many years.
It's just our bad fortune, I guess, so to speak, that things are culminating on our watch. And I think some of it has to do with the city becoming more involved, and the recognition of the lead issue. I mean, that's been here since the place was built, but now that we have to be very cautious in a litigious society, and certainly we don't want to make anybody sick, our staff or guests. I just bemoan the fact that it's all sort of coming at once, and we have expenses. The city has expenses, and associated with it, the family has expenses because of the discovery of these problems. And it's too bad that that very attractive and unusual third floor can't be part of our show. That's probably unique to buildings of this era and of this mansion type structures, that there are ballrooms. Very few houses, although I understand that's not the descriptor that we would use for that space, is it anymore? It's no longer called the ballroom.
It is.
Is it?
Still using it. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was
Playroom.
redescribed as something other than. I heard one of the guides describe it other than a ballroom, but that's either here or there. It's just too bad that we can't include that to the public, and I certainly hope that we can rectify that as soon as possible, make it part of the mansion tours.
Well, you raise a good point, Fred, because for the notes per se, I got the feeling that since Americo said it was safe to use that and display cases are being redesigned, that you are opening it up this soon, reopening the third floor? Or is that nixed until the work gets done in the winter?
I would like to reopen it. I don't know about soon, but probably a month's time.
Delaying it until then, for what reason?
Mostly because I would like to have the city come in. We need to get a vent, and then it'll take a while to move all the artifacts back in and to create the cases again. The entire third floor is not put back together, so we need to get that back together, and it'll take a while.
Okay, well, I think we all feel that it could be an important priority that we do that as soon as it's feasible, and that we move in and reopen as much as we can.
Definitely, I agree.
Okay.
And you mentioned, Emily, that because of the lead pipes, we being staff, anybody, we're not to drink out of the faucets.
Correct.
So
it's in our rental contract. It's one of the things that we mention. That's why we have the filtration system in the fridge. But that's been something since Jessica was here.
So anybody who comes in with the wedding or reception or any other function, they have to have bottled water or use the fridge filtered water?
Yep. It's something that we also share when they're going through looking at the mansion rental spaces. We mentioned that before they sign the contract. It's mentioned in the contract. We have lead pipes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So since Jessica's time here, 5 years ago when the contract was created, that we've been very open about that.
Okay.
Covered.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other new business or other business? We have treasurer's report. Do we have a treasurer's report for the Civic?
Oh, we did that.
Okay. Is that the Michigan City report? The budget? Okay. Do you have any concerns or anything? Okay.
Do we need approval? I don't think so.
Well, it's already,
Yeah, it's kind of out of our control.
Yeah.
It's FYI, basically.
Yeah.
I just wanted to verify. I know in previous meetings that I've attended, and then looking at the notes and minutes from when Jessica was director here, Tom, you gave the treasurer's report for that particular part of the meeting. And I just wanted to verify if that was still something that was happening.
Well, we convened the Civic Center, and then
the Friends.
the Friends, and I give the report.
For a while, we meshed them together.
No,
We've been told to separate the two meetings.
no.
So we'll have, after the end of this meeting, have a Friends meeting.
Ah, okay.
And that's when he will give his report.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
And
Is
that's
that Emily included or no? I think that's another clarification.
I guess who is on the Friends?
the same people that are on the Civics.
It's cumbersome, but necessary.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to verify and make sure that I had it in my
Originally,
notes.
when this meeting adjourns, then we start the Friends meeting.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So then for future agendas, I'll take that part out then.
Yeah, take the tree.
Okay.
Okay, future meeting date. August. Usually what's the third Thursday?
That'd be the 22nd, no, 15th. The first is on a Thursday.
15th? 15th work for everybody?
Sorry, what month? August?
August. Okay, August 15th, 10 o'clock.
Okay, Emily?
I think so. May I borrow your pencil?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.